Hi, this is Emily of Beauties and Headcanons. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Rachel Mullins, host of No Filter Friday, here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my new show, No Filter Friday, where we talk about all of the sexual misconduct allegations swirling around Hollywood. A new show drops every Friday at 8:30 Pacific Standard Time. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you'll never miss an episode of No Filter Friday. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Today's verse of the day comes from Colossians 3:12. Therefore, as the elect of God, holy and beloved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Friday, we have made it through another week, and we are looking towards the weekend. I know that always gets me excited, and I'm sure that has you just as excited as well for whatever you might have planned for the upcoming weekend. Reminder for you, as we do move through these couple of days here, that we are just very excited about all that we have to offer here on the verse of the day, and also just in general what life has to throw at us as well, too. We are in the season of Lent right now as well, too, and I know we haven't really touched really at all about Lent, but we are going to dive a little bit deeper into some of the verses that are associated with Jesus' journey through Lent coming up here in the next few weeks. So just want to give you a quick little preview about that. Of course, I want to give you the reminder that we are available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and over at thephmedia.com. We are also over on Facebook and Instagram, so if you are interested in giving us a follow, that would be awesome, or liking our page. You can also check out the daily shareable verse of the day graphic that we make as well, too, that has our verse of the day that you can then take and distribute accordingly among your social media channels. So a nice little thing that we like to do to help provide a little bit more positivity and encouragement into your life and into your respective news feeds as well, too. And finally, if you would like to submit a verse for us to use here on the program, we would love it if you did. You can either message us on Facebook or Instagram, or by sending us an email by going to verseofthedaypod, that's P-O-D, at gmail.com. So today's verse of the day, as we mentioned earlier, is from Colossians 3:12, and there are 5 key things that we would like to look at this morning, just to kind of put a nice little bow on everything. I think this is a really nice guide for us as Christians on how we should act, who we should be, and what is expected of us as Christians in this world today. So we see in this verse that we are to clothe ourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. I want to look at compassion for a moment, because we've talked about really all of these in some way, shape, or form these last couple of weeks as we've been going through this show. But compassion is, I think, one of the most important things any person needs to have in their life. If you have compassion, you are showing how much you love a person. You are showing that you care for somebody as well too. You hear, Susan is such a compassionate person because she's always checking in to make sure that her grandma's doing okay, or she is just volunteering with no questions asked. Just so much compassion in her heart. And I think that's so important for us, especially as Christians as well, to share compassion not only with obviously other Christians, but really we are trying to help lead others to the faith as well, to lead other people to Jesus and his saving power as well too. So having compassion on those that are struggling in their faith, that are having issues, I think is very important. It's something that ultimately I don't think we always take time to do as well too. We sometimes look at people and say, oh, this person's not a Christian, well, it's not really worth my time, or oh, they're kind of mean to me, why would I show them compassion? That's one of the age-old things we have to teach our kids, or we get taught as kids as well too, is that when someone's mean to us, we are to treat them with respect and compassion back, because we that's what Jesus would do. And it's not easy. It's especially harder to communicate that to a kid, like, well, I know Billy was mean to you and stole your lunch money, but We need to treat him with compassion. And I'm not saying let Billy walk all over your kid. That's definitely not the case. But you understand what I'm saying, especially if you're a parent out there, saying that we need to have compassion on those that are struggling and that those are maybe in a different situation than we are. We don't know everything that goes on in a person's life on a daily basis. So showing them compassion is going to go a long way. Compassion and kindness really kind of go hand in hand, of course, and I know all 5 of these kind of really do go hand in hand, but kind of picking apart all 5 of these this morning. Kindness, I think you can probably come up with at least 10 different people in your life that are just overflowing with kindness and joy in their life right now. My wife and my mother and several other people that I know are just always exuding kindness. They're always giving. They're always serving everyone else. They are doing everything they can to make other people's lives better. Now, I think that that's very important, but I obviously do want to encourage you, if you are exuding kindness, to make sure that you are also taking a moment for yourself and you're not wearing yourself out. You need to be able to be in a good state of mind personally before you can exude kindness and any of these other 5 that we've been talking about to other people. So make sure that's a forefront of your mind as well, too, before you just start going out and throwing kindness at everybody. I think this third one is very key, especially for teenagers, college students, young adults as well too. Clothing yourself with humility. I believe that this world, as we've mentioned before, is very much a me-first centered world where we are all about how can I get from A to Z as fast as possible? How can I make that $1 million so fast? How can I get out of school so fast? How can I get with that girl so fast? Having humility really is what challenges a lot of people, and what ultimately I feel like sometimes drives people away from being a Christian, because they know that in order to be a Christian, you have to be a servant first, not be the one that is getting served. You are serving others. Humility allows us to step back and say, no, you first, and not me first, God, but you first, and allowing others to be placed first as well. Gentleness is another one I think that goes hand in hand with kindness and humility as well too. And like I've mentioned, all 5 of these really do go hand in hand, but picking them apart a little bit more I think is what's important about this verse this morning. Gentleness is, I would say, different than kindness, because you can be kind to somebody, but you don't always treat them with gentleness. I think kindness is acknowledging the person on the street and saying, hey, good morning, good to see you. And gentleness is, I feel, going that extra step where you can see that there's something that's visibly wrong, or they're crying, or in general you just want to engage them and just be gentle with them and see how you can be of help to them. I think that's very important. I think the 5th one is the one that we all struggle with in every aspect of our life, and that's patience. I always joke with my family and my friends that my grandpa, who's been married to my grandma for 56 years, 57 years, we always joke he's going to be made a saint. You know, he's not Catholic, so that's the first part of the joke, but that's always the funny. We always get a chuckle out of that. But he's the most patient man that I've ever met, because my grandma is an amazing woman, but after a certain age, as we all know, when people get to a certain age, the filter just kind of comes off, and they just kind of do what they want to do, and they say what they want to say, and don't have any regard for other people's opinions at that point. You've lived that much, so much of your life at that point. It's like, you know what? I'm going to just say it how it is. And God bless my grandpa. He has very rarely said anything in negativity or in response in a mean way to things that my grandma has said. And I'm not saying that he's just sitting there getting all walked over, but he's patient with her. He knows that she can sometimes be difficult to be around, and not, we all can be. It doesn't matter if we're 78, if we are 3. It doesn't matter if we are 26, like I am, sitting right here talking to you. I'm not always the best person to be around. That's just the reality of it. We all have to be patient with one another, and we have to be able to then take those first 4 components that we've already talked about by showing each other compassion, kindness, humility, and gentleness, and wrap that all in and really put a nice little bow on it by exuding patience on top of all 5 of those things. So of these 5 different factors that we see here, these 5 things that we're asked to clothe ourselves with here in Colossians 3:12 this morning, I want you to take a minute today as you go around the day and just think about which one is something you find yourself clothing yourself with the most during the day, but then which one you need to go and pull out of your spiritual wardrobe. Do you need to go put on some more humility? Do you need to go grab your t-shirt of patience? Do you need to go grab your jeans of compassion? You get what I'm saying? It's in that regards. What are you missing in your life? Are you doing a good job of encompassing all 5 pieces of your wardrobe when you are clothing yourself with spiritual clothing? I think that this is something that we need to continue to work towards, and I think that as we get ready to move into the deeper sense of what Jesus went through during Lent here in the next couple of weeks, I think that especially is going to show you the ultimate person that had the very best wardrobe when it came to clothing themselves in compassion, in kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. It's amazing what we can do in our life, and it's amazing how we will treat people when we have these 5 clothing available for us to be able to serve one another and ultimately serve God.
You've been listening to the Verse of the Day podcast hosted by Baxter Colburn on Public House Media. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Verse of the Day. It comes out 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The podcast can be found by subscribing on Google Play Podcasts and wherever good podcasts are found. More information about Verse of the Day podcast can be found by going to thephmedia.com.